as investors, are there any names that we can look to here to try to capitalize on this?
Developing vaccines is not easy. It can take a very long time. But there are a couple companies that have come out and said that they're doing some early work on a vaccine for it.
Early being the
Sanofi,
key word.
yeah, early work. Sanofi is one. They have a very large presence in vaccines, about 5 billion in annual sales. They just are in the process of rolling out a vaccine for dengue fever. And they think that possibly some of the lessons they've learned over the years can help them speed a vaccine along for this. Inovia Pharmaceuticals is another one. They have an interesting approach where they use a strand of DNA to craft a synthetic vaccine, if you will, that can be given to people in early stage, really early stage. I mean, we're talking studies in mice.
Like
It
not
showed
even
some
human.
positive efficacy. But investors need to remember that while money could get spent on this research, I think the administration was seeking 1.8 billion in funding, and some of that's going to be heading towards research. Vaccines take years to develop, so we're probably not going to see anything reaching the market and commercialization potential, if you will, for a while.
Yeah, the reaction to Inovio has been really interesting because the stock has received a pretty substantial boost that seems to be tied to its work in developing a Zika vaccine. But they don't have a single product currently, and their pipeline has vaccines kind of all over the place for cancer, flu, Zika, Ebola. But as you mentioned, the Zika one is still not in human trials. So I'm not.
Yeah, they're hoping for primates, and then to human trials. I caution investors. Whenever you hear something like Zika, 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 it makes you think, okay, who may be the first to market with something like this? You don't want to get the cart too far ahead of the horse here. And in Ovio, they're working on some interesting stuff, but like you said, they've got nothing on the market yet. They got a similar pop in their stock share price when the Ebola scare was around because they're working on an Ebola vaccine. But you'll notice that vaccine hasn't reached the market yet. So temper that enthusiasm a little bit. If you're going to buy the stock, make sure you're not buying it solely because of the potential to create a Zika virus. That's why, for investors, maybe, Sanofi makes more sense because you've got, a multinational large drug company with a lot of different irons in the fire, reasons to own it other than, what you would see with an Inovio.
Now, what about Intrexon? Where do they fit in?
Well, they're an intriguing play because theoretically if you can engineer the DNA of a mosquito so that that you're not reproducing mosquitoes that have that can transmit the virus, wouldn't that be great? I don't know whether or not Intrexion's going to end up turning whatever they can come up with into a commercial product that should drive investors to buy the stock. So again, I think you got to temper the enthusiasm or optimism about coming up with a solution and getting it to market, and instead own these companies based on their other irons in the fire. And if they're able to come up with something in Zika, then that's great. It's great for people. It's great for doctors. It's great for patients, and theoretically great for investors. But we're still so far away from that. I approach with caution.
So, all told, don't worry too much about Zika virus and don't get caught up in the hype of thinking it's a good investment either.